Wife of the Party, episode 242. I cannot believe I've done this 242 times. That's crazy. That's so exciting. So thank you for being on this ride with me. Some of you who've been here from the beginning. It's been super fun. And today is no exception. Cathy and Kirsten came in to talk about not a book. Oh my God. We're not talking about a book today. Today, we're talking about volunteer burnout. Kirsten came to me last week and she was like, I have an episode for you. Let's talk about getting burned out as a volunteer. The three of us have volunteered the whole time we've known each other. And I think Kirsten in particular was feeling a little burned out. So we chatted about it. We chatted about organizing our life and our week and making lists and writing things down versus computer. And I don't know, it's just three friends shooting the shit about being a volunteer and what's great and what's not great. So I hope you enjoy this episode with me and Cathy and Kirsten. And by the way, my website, wifeotp.com, has changed. It is now birdieboyproductions.com. BERTYBOY Productions with an S.com. And there's a link to Wife of the Party there. You can still email me there, and you can access the podcast there. But yeah, we've gotten a whole new website. So birdieboyproductions.com. You can also find Burtcast there. Something's Burning is on there. Open Tabs is on there. So, yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. I love your emails. I got the most amazing email yesterday from someone. And I always love reading them. So don't hesitate. Just go to birdieboyproductions.com and check out the Wife of the Party page. So thanks for coming back. And I hope you enjoy this episode with Cathy and Kirsten. Okay. Excellent topic today. Should we call it bitch session or, I'm just kidding. Should we call it volunteer burnout? Because
Same.
Yeah, right, sort of. But is it here's my question before we even start. Is it volunteer burnout or is it incompetency burnout?
No, because I think that's specific. I think there's a larger issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we all three volunteer in different capacities in different places. We volunteer together as Girl Scouts. We volunteer separately at our kids' schools from time to time, some more than others. We volunteer.
Yes, different organizations. We all have a lot going on.
Volunteerism. And I would like to say first and foremost, for everyone listening, we are privileged that we are able to volunteer. Mm-hmm. It is a privilege. It is not something that a lot of parents can do because they're working multiple jobs and they don't have time, they don't have the space, the energy, or the resources to do that. So we are really lucky that we can contribute to our community in the way that we do. I say that to preface we're the shitstorm that's about to start lava flowing from everybody's mouth, so everyone knows we're not assholes.
Correct. Although some of us who volunteer a lot do not are maybe lacking in resources because we have not had, because the volunteering has taken the front seat to actually income earning. So I would offer that as well.
Interesting.
Yes, but true. Yes. And also, I think the other thing that we need to preface is by saying this is not a Girl Scouts bitch sesh, even though I definitely have some fine points about the organization.
Yes.
But we adore her Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
We are, I think we're all completely on board with, we love them. This is not saying, well, I'm not showing up to the next meeting, but that's different.
We're happy.
That's different. We are
still be doing this.
Yes,
as
we
volunteers.
love the girls and we love the parents, and we are very much appreciated. We feel the appreciation and the love from our troop parents. So any troop parents who are listening to this, this is not about you.
Nothing personal.
It's
although some of you do suck, but I mean, some of you could learn a little from this. Maybe just take a titch here and there.
No, they're very they're very loving to us.
Yes,
they tell us repeatedly. They thank us repeatedly. Yeah. They tell us repeatedly that they are grateful.
Yeah,
and they get us nice gifts. And they're so it's not about that. I guess.
And the girls are appreciative and respectful.
Yeah.
And
but we have to preface it with that because that's what most of your listeners hear us talking about is Girl Scouts.
Yes.
That's the primary.
But I volunteer at high school. All three of us volunteered heavily in our elementary school.
Yes.
I volunteered very minimally in middle school. I don't know what you guys did, but yeah, this is a cumulative conversation.
Yes.
Over, I don't know, 10, 12 years of volunteerism.
For me, it's 14 years because my kids went to a co-op preschool, which means a volunteer position. So you actually like volunteer you have to work for a certain amount of hours. You have to work one day a week for like teaching and cleaning up and feeding and doing all the things that you do at a preschool. And then in addition, all of the fundraising, et cetera. Right. So it was like the elementary was jump started in preschool. So yeah. Yes. So you're absolutely right. It is the cumulative effect of 14 years of
hardcore volunteerism.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if this is prevalent everywhere or if it's just an LA thing.
I think it is prevalent everywhere. I was talking to my mom on the way over here and I said, I can only talk a couple minutes. I'm going over to Leanne's to podcast. And she said, what's the subject? And I said, volunteer burnout. And she was like, oh yeah. And then I thought about the fact that she really modeled like the volunteer, just the volunteer value. Like she volunteered in our elementary school. She volunteered in all of our schools in a huge capacity. But also she, the Cancer Society, the Heart Society, like she did a ton of volunteering. And I do remember in her sort of later year, like she's 78 now. Yeah. So in the more recent years, talking about going out to canvas for the Heart Society, which she very much believes in their mission. But just going, ugh.
No can do.
Yeah. And like, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So why are you feeling so burned out?
Part of it is from Girl Scouts, and it's not from even what we do in terms of showing up every 2 weeks and the camping trips and the whatever. It's also just what they demand of us on an annual or biannual basis. So or monthly or yeah, exactly. Just all of the red tape about that. So, we all had to pass a
mandated
reporter training. We also every 2 years do the first aid training, which is a multi-hour, like it's 20-hour course or something like that.
Both of them are multiple hours.
Yes.
Like 4, 5, 6, 8.
Yes.
10 like hours.
Yes.
Of training.
And I know just because the first aid is the most recent one that I did, it's at least 20 hours. It's
forever.
So, and I don't have a beef with like being a mandated reporter. I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to provide that service and to know that. I am happy to have first aid training theoretically. But when it came to spending those 20 hours, it's like, oh my God, 20 hours is like, it's a lot of hours.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And so I was very resentful doing those hours, even though it's like the end result is like, I'm first aid trained. I really do want to renew that. I want to keep current all the time because it does change. Like from the time I took my first aid training, it was all about the breaths in the CPR. And now it's like, oh, you don't have to give the breaths if the most important part
is the compression.
Compression. So it's like, it changes, and it's very important to stay current on that. At the same time, just the requirement of it, just being of knowing, oh, well, this doesn't even dip into the actual hours I spend, coming up with curriculum for the girls, like for their journeys, for their badges, like running around town to pick up the things that we need for their badges and journeys, showing up on Sundays and showing up on, to the camping trips, to the whatever. It's like, again, the cumulative effect. So that's what brought it up right now was honestly all of the trainings.
The CPR and the
trainings, and then signing up for nuts and chocolates and all just the paperwork of just like filling in all the stuff just so that we can sell products for Girl Scouts.
And the requirement of that. I think the problem with a lot of that with Girl Scouts is there's so many requirements. And I don't even do all my requirements. You should review the volunteer toolkit every year. Are you kidding? That thing's like 84 pages long. I'm not doing that. I'm not.
And half the time it's fucking inaccurate.
Yes.
So like when you're looking for information in that document, it's either missing, it's not there, or it's outdated. So you're like, why am I going to spend my time reviewing it?
Yeah.
Or
like,
occasionally it's just common sense that you're like, I know.
If someone falls, you report it.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
That's not hard. Got it.
Yeah.
Here's the form. That all the requirements, and then Cathy and I are the product sales chair too, and all the requirements for that. We have to be trained every year, and I'm like, we have been doing this. And just tell me what's changed. I just need to know what's different, and invariably there's something different every year. So we do have to have.
They don't actually tell you.
They don't tell you
until like you're in it, and then you're like, wait, this is not the same.
Yeah, I can't find last year's sales report. Oh yeah, we moved to a different website, and that one now you can't access it. And you're like, what? Well, if I'd known that, I would have printed it out before you shut it down. That's shit like that happens too. Yeah. It's so frustrating that the red tape. I completely agree. I think that's why people have stopped being teachers, is because of the red tape. That's another. I mean, a teacher is a paid volunteer position in a lot of because they
they're
don't
paid
get paid
and volunteers
enough.
Because they don't.
Yes,
they
that's
don't
what
get
I mean.
paid for all their hours. You're right.
That's true.
And so, who wants to do that and have to fill out this report? And from what I understand, my aunt retired because of paperwork. She said, I spent so much time doing paperwork for the principal, paperwork for the county, paperwork to get supplies. I couldn't just walk to the office and go, I bought these supplies here. Can I have the petty cash? It doesn't work like so much bureaucracy. She told me she quit because of paperwork. This was a teacher who won like the state award for science teacher. She was the most amazing science teacher. And she was like, it's too much stress. And it's taking time away from what I could do for these girls. I feel that way about Girl Scouts a lot too. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spend my summer either doing the mandate reporter, the whatever that fucking thing's called, and the Red Cross thing, and then the nuts and chocolates training, and then every year, oh my God, this makes me nuts. Sorry, no pun intended. But we do the nuts and chocolates when we go to launch our campaign. Cathy and I have to watch a 10-minute video. That's the same 10-minute video from last year.
You cannot progress until you watch this video.
They force you to watch it.
You literally cannot continue. And you're like, really?
It's the same video as last year. And it's all common sense.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you need to know in that fucking video. Yes, it's only 10 minutes. But again, it's the requirement of it.
Yes.
I'm required.
That's the burden. That's the part that makes me angry, is that I'm forced to sit here and waste 10 minutes of my time while I have this video playing in the background, which is annoying me. I'm clearly doing something else and not watching this video.
Oh, 100%. So why watch it?
Right. So exactly, why watch it? Why are you making me do this? So
the
now I'm
point
just pissed
is to
off
waste your time
for 10 minutes, even though I'm not paying attention to it. You know what I mean? Like how does that help?
Yeah.
It doesn't help.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Right. I think,
and that's the part that makes me not want to do it. Right. Like walking into the meetings, like I don't ever feel resentful.
No, right. No.
Yeah,
but all the other shit, I'm like, fuck, why are we doing this? This is so annoying.
I agree. Yep. I don't ever feel resentful when we're doing things with the girls.
Correct.
And I actually am not resentful when we have that big meeting at the beginning where we plan everything, because then I go, I like to get our ducks in a row so that then we can basically, not really, but basically show up and do. So we're not meeting all the time and planning all the time. So I don't ever mind.
Although there is that moment of panic on Saturday night.
I know.
We're like, wait, shit.
What are we doing tomorrow?
Do we have snack? What do we have? Was I supposed to do something? Because I'm clearly not prepared.
I was full on
Sunday
panicked
morning.
last Saturday. And we were even, I don't know, we did something Saturday night. So I was like, oh my God, like I'm not prepared. So I got up at the crack of dawn on Sunday and like, I know, so I did like this, science project that you guys had done. It was a soil erosion project experiment, super fun, super interesting. But it that cut to me 6 a.m. Sunday morning, digging in the yard, digging up soil. And Leanne's like, why didn't you just stop at the garden store and pick up soil? And I did not have the bandwidth to make one more stop. Like I was just in that stage of the week of having done so many freaking errands that I didn't have another errand in me. So then cut to me in the backyard.
So errand burnout also. Right. Cut to you in the backyard.
Burnout.
Digging.
Yeah.
So why are we feeling burned out? Maybe it's about more than volunteerism, because I feel errand burned out too. I feel email burned out. I got 18 text messages in 20 minutes when I was in the shower. 18. That's
what
lot.
I think it is. I think we had that moment during COVID where everything was calm. Remember when like you didn't get 18 emails or text or whatever. Nobody was doing anything. Everyone was like, wow, we all needed a moment to take a breath and evaluate our life. And then all of a sudden, COVID is over or whatever. And we're right back into it. Like that moment where, oh, we need to appreciate this slowed down life is over. It's like that never happened is what I feel like anyway.
I agree.
Like
100%. You were right.
back into it. And I'm like, fuck, I never wanted to be back here again.
Yeah.
It sucked last time we did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it sucks now.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Why are we booked back to back? You know? I don't know.
Agreed. I do think it's volunteer burnout for me. I'm ready to earn money. Like, honestly, because I'm ready to, because at a job, you have, ideally, if you're doing something you love, then you have that passion. And then on the days that you're not feeling passionate about it, and it's just
about the money,
it's just that it's like, well, I'm getting paid. And so for 14 years of, I do have a part-time job, but it's seasonal, which makes it sound like I'm doing something exciting like boating or it's a book that gets published twice a year. That's like a technical book. So I edit that twice a year and that's good, but it's not a consistent thing. And I feel that for me, I want a job because I have a daughter who's starting college next year and I'm panicking about that. But I also need to have that, like in those down moments of going, well, at least I've got a paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least I'm contributing towards my daughter's education, instead of just feeling run down and then with no outlet.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, I'm run down from this. And then the expectation is never take a break from any of the volunteer organizations that you're working from. There's always more to do. There's always a way that you could be doing more. And I definitely felt that when I took a step back in the later years in elementary school. I was there literally all day, every day for the early years. And I could not sustain that. And there was definitely a sense from the other volunteering parents, from the teachers who you help out. When you take a step back, it's like, oh,
what's wrong with you?
Nobody likes that. Like, we liked you better when you were working all the time for us.
Yeah,
Right.
for free.
Yeah.
And killing yourself.
Yeah.
Wife of the Party today is brought to you by DocaTot. Now, I haven't had a baby in a long time, and I didn't know about DocaTot when I have a baby, but my sister-in-law has two, and she, I don't think, could actually live without a DocaTot. A DocaTot is, I think they have several different products, but the one that she had was like this horseshoe-shaped thing that was padded that you could put a baby in, and they couldn't roll over. It was brilliant. I spent my days rolling up little receiving blankets and shoving it in different places around my baby so she couldn't roll over. DocaTot is just, you just put it down and you put the baby inside. They come with cute fabrics. They're really soft. They're very versatile. You could use them anywhere. You could put them on the floor. You could put them in the crib. You could put them on your bed. You could put them on the table. And the baby is safe and comfy. If you're looking like me, since I'm not having any babies, I always have someone in my life who's having a baby. This would be a perfect gift. Anything from DocaTot. They have an ergonomically correct La Maman wedge that's designed to kind of decrease your neck strain and help you with postpartum for mommy. The DocaTot obviously is a great gift for any nursing mom or any not nursing mom to just have your baby be in a comfy, safe, cuddled up, snuggled up place that's stylish and cute. That's portable. You can take it with you. Babies, mamas, and gift givers. This is the best brand you can buy for the precious child you love most. Get 15% off at DocaTot.com with the code WIFE. That's 15% off with the code WIFE at DocaTot.com. Parenting is hard, but DocaTot makes it easier. Okay, this episode is also brought to you by Factor. Oh my God. They sent us a box of their product and I am totally hooked. Okay? It is pre-made meals that you can just heat and eat for one person. I'm sure you can order multiple if you have multiple people in your house. I had their smoothies. They were delicious. They were a grab and go option. They have a little protein, plant-based protein. I add a little extra protein and now I have a protein shake. Shake it up, go in the car, got a delicious protein shake on my way on my busy day. I had their risotto for lunch. Delicious. And it's a microwave, like you can cook it in the stove too, but microwave and go meal. They have vegan meals. They have vegetarian meals. They have meat meals. They have all different kinds of meals. There's 30 plus meals per week and 36 add-ons like smoothies, juices, snacks, and more. It's cheaper than takeout. And when things get really busy, you can change your order plan. You can have between 4 and 18 meals per week. That's crazy. Like this week, I was so busy. I could not figure out lunch, much less dinner. It would have been great to have looked ahead and gone, you know what? I just need a lot of Factor meals for this week and I don't have to worry about anything. Personally, I have one kid at home who lives almost entirely on potato chips and ramen. So I've kind of given up cooking for her, but I still want to eat good food. So as soon as this came, I went, oh my gosh, here's my solution for my eating by myself at night because my teenager is out and about. This is delicious and it's healthy. It's vegan, it's veggie, it's protein plus, it's keto, it's calorie smart. They're chef crafted, dietitian approved. It saves me time. The risotto I had was delicious. The smoothies were awesome. Head to go.factor75.com/wife130 and use code wife130 to get $130 off across 6 boxes. That's code wife130 at go.factor75.com/wife130 for $130 off. I'm going to read that one more time just so you get it. Go.factor75.com/wife130 and use the code wife130 to get $130 off across 6 boxes. Go.factor75.com/wife130. I know what you mean. My daughter's school, I had asked me for years to volunteer and I kept saying no. Mm-hmm. And then I went, you know what? I think I should because once Georgia got to be graduating, I realized I knew so few parents and how you get to know parents is volunteering. So I was like, okay, I would like to, I'm going to volunteer. So I went to they asked me in the office and I said, I will do one thing. One thing. I'm not, just because I do one thing doesn't mean ask me for the next and the next. I will do one thing. So I chose the one thing and I did it. I did it all the way and it was great. And that was in the spring. Summer comes. Just wondering, would you do this other thing? And I went, I told you. I told you when I said yes, I would do one thing. I will not do anything else. Had a parent call me.
Yeah.
And I said, I apologize. I am far too busy in the fall to participate. I have my one thing and that's what I'm doing. So I just had to be like very clear, but they still keep coming. Well, maybe she'll just do one more thing. Yeah. No, I was crystal clear. I will do one thing.
And that's the tough thing about a boundary is that, first of all, it's hard for as an individual to come up with what is my boundary going to be. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to do the one thing. And then you lay out the boundary and you're very clear with the boundary, but then maintaining the boundary takes so much energy. Yes. It's honestly easier to just go, yeah, sure, I'll do
your boundary. Right. You know, as we all know.
Or just not do anything at all.
It's so hard. You know, like, I do the paperwork for Girl Scouts. Paperwork for Girl Scouts is 4 forms. We have to fill out 4 forms every year. They're the same 4 forms. They don't change. They're not rocket science. There's one form that 50% of the parents do not complete every year. We had one child get injured a long time ago, and they questioned my paperwork for a second because something wasn't initialed. And then I went, okay, note to self. I will fill everything. No, it wasn't. There was something. It was in that over-the-counter medication form, and there's like a like anything else listed. The place that was questioned when we had the injury was there's a thing at the top that says list any medication they can't take, and then you circle everything underneath that yes or no. And she had just left it blank, and they said to me, there can be nothing blank. She should have put none or not applicable. There can be no blank places on any of your forms. And I went, okay, noted. I'm not going to have a parent not be compensated with insurance because I have a blank on the form, because that's the loophole that lawyers and insurance companies look for, is something as stupid as she didn't write none.
Right.
She just left it blank. So then I'm very diligent about making sure all that shit has something on it. Yes, that little bitty initial part is a problem. There's one little bitty tiny space at the bottom. If you don't know it's there, or you're not one of those super diligent people who reads every word, you don't see it. So every year I end up having probably 6 or 8 parents who either miss where you put the none, or they miss the initial, or both. And so I end up like highlighting it, post-it note, please sign this and return it to me by mail, because I have to have the original copy before our next meeting. And so that's my time. Every fucking year, same form with the same 2 places. And it's usually the same people who I have to return it to and go, initial, come on. So I've addressed all these envelopes, because legally we're not supposed to have them at a meeting without these forms. So I can't even start my first meeting without the form. Obviously, I could go, fuck it, I don't give a shit, and just do the meeting anyway. But I'm trying to be compliant with what they're asking me to do. So I return all these forms back. They drab back in. Some people mail, some people drop them off. I have one person in our troop I have 0 forms for. 0. So what happens with my forms is we are required to have a binder on site that has all these forms in it for every meeting. We're also required, if we drive somewhere, each driver has to have what's called a troop binder, which has all these forms in it. So at the beginning of the year, I take those forms, I make multiple copies, I distribute them throughout all the binders. So if we ever go anywhere, I go, here's your driver binder, let's go. So I don't have to make these copies when it's happening. And because I'm missing one girl, I cannot move forward. So I could make copies and make all these binders, but I guarantee you she's going to show up. We're going to go on a field trip. I won't have her binder. She'll fall down the stairs and break her neck, and we will not have a fucking form.
God forbid.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
and I
totally.
go, I'm going to
100%.
forget it. And I have asked. I have asked.
And there is nothing worse than doing everything on your to-do list, but not being able to cross off something on your to-do list because someone else hasn't done their part in your to-do list.
I emailed and said, I still need these forms. I need them right away. And the response was, they came with the thank you note that she sent you from the lake house. I got the thank you note. It was in a lovely American Greetings envelope. There's no way she could have possibly put 4 forms in that envelope. They were not in there. I do not have them. So that was a week ago. I still do not have those forms. Still don't have them. So I'm super frustrated. I hear you. And that form thing every year, I'm like, it's just so easy. It's your name, address, phone number, email. Can she take acetaminophen or whatever it's called? Yes. Ibuprofen? Yes. Can we treat her medically? Yes. Hey, is she going to sell product? Then sign it. It's
literally some of the questions are like, can we put aloe on them if they have a sunburn?
It's the most ridiculous. Yeah, it's really frustrating to give of your time happily. I'm happily giving my time. So then I think it's really not a lot to ask that you give your time when I ask it. Fill out these forms and get them back to me by this date. So do it. because I am doing so much. Reflect your appreciation back to me in your action, not just your words and not just with a gift card, which I appreciate, but I would like it to make my life easier, not harder.
Yes. I think that's sort of like an overarching theme in like, I don't know, as a woman, as just as a human being, it's like, if somebody makes my life easier,
right?
It's like, that's the greatest sign of appreciation and respect,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
I love that you said that. Okay. If someone makes my life easier, it is the greatest sign of appreciation and respect. Maybe that's how we should present it to our husbands when we say, hey, can you take out the trash? You know what I mean? If Bert looked at it that way, I wonder if it would change how he behaved, you know? Because I say,
Maybe.
you don't ever help me around the house. And he goes, well, I'm so busy doing other things. Instead of saying, if you make my life easier, it makes me feel loved and respected and appreciated. Maybe I should say that. I want to try it next time he's home in 2 weeks.
Good luck.
I know, right? We'll see how that works out. I've been trying so many things all these years. Maybe he'll go, oh, well, I definitely want her to feel loved and respected. I'll take out the trash. It won't happen. Who are we kidding?
It can't hurt to drop the seed, though.
No, right? So how do we fix this volunteer burnout? Can you fix it?
I know for me, I need to figure out boundaries. Like that boundary that you said, I will do one thing. This is my one thing. I think you have to know what your boundary is. You have to establish a boundary in order to uphold it.
Yeah.
And I don't currently have one. So I went back and forth. Like in middle school, it was like, there was a year that I was like, I'm just doing nothing. I'm just doing nothing. I'm just doing nothing. Somebody asked me, okay, I'll do it. And then, then I end up doing like a flood of things.
I see.
And, the problem is it's hard to establish that boundary right now because it's like Girl Scouts, we're in it. You know,
Yeah.
We've got the youngest ones in our troop. We have 4 years left. It's like, you want to make it good. The Girl Scouts are almost like a reflection of our parenting in that sense, where it's like, we only have these amount of years left. Let's make them good ones.
And they're so into it.
They're so
we
into
can't
it.
leave. I don't want to leave.
No, absolutely. I don't want to leave either. So it's like, okay, I'm in it there. How do I make some of that easier? How do we, like in the past, we used to ask parents to help us out with certain things, bringing in certain things. I could have reached out. If I had organized in time, I could have reached out to the parents in our troop saying, hey, can somebody bring the dirt?
Right.
Somebody bring whatever.
Pick up a bag of soil and drop it off. Yeah.
So I'm not digging at 6 a.m.
Somebody probably had some in their backyard.
But that's the problem is that volunteering is like, we're doing a lot of it, but also doing so many things in life that it's like, okay, I'm thinking about it last minute because I'm volunteering on Sunday, but it's like, I forget about the prep work that goes into it. And so then if I had prepared earlier, then I would have been able to ask for help in those areas. So I think it's like figuring out like what sort of help to ask for in that context. But it's also like, this is one of my daughters. It's her last year in school. She auditioned for and got a role in the school play.
Amazing.
It's really
Nice.
exciting. Both my kids have a role in the school play. Super exciting. They need help. It's a public school and they need hours. And I am happy to do that. The teacher goes above and beyond and is giving of his time by being there after school for hours every day. It's, so I want to help. But again, and then the school, it's public school. It's a very small school. So it's not even like, in the behemoth public schools, you can maybe have like a false sense of maybe someone else is doing it. This is a small enough school that I know that if I don't do something,
He'll be doing it by himself.
Yeah. So I want to do that. I need to figure out some boundaries of all of the different
Okay, let me
volunteer
ask you
outlets.
this. Okay. This is helping me so much because I am doing the same thing you're talking about, not just with volunteerism, but with life in general. So we just went to orientation for Georgia for college, right? And they were saying, because she's on a quarter system, which is only 10 weeks, those kids tend to fall behind very quickly and have a hard time catching up. So they recommend, she said, in this digital world, everyone has a digital calendar. And it is not conducive to a quarterly system because things are so condensed that you can't look at your calendar on Sunday for this coming up week. You'll fall behind. What you have to do is look at your calendar 2 weeks ahead. So you've already seen the upcoming week last week, and then you're seeing the next week, so you can see what you need to kind of start this week for your following week. So if you wait and you just compartmentalize week by week, you will fall behind. So you need a right in it day planner so that you can physically see what's happening. And I didn't really think about that for myself till this conversation, where that's what I do. I look at my day the day before. So I have no time to prepare for digging soil in my backyard.
Yeah.
I don't have a schedule where I go, Sunday night, I'm going to look at my whole week and I'm going to put things in place that help this week be smoother, more efficient, more effective for me. We get in this hamster wheel of life, and literally I'm going to bed going, what's my day tomorrow? Oh my God. What? That's what I do, right? Yesterday, we have had such a week here at Birdie Boy Productions. We've been shooting Something's Burning all week. And we've been shooting other things Bert's been interested with because we're paying the camera crew and the sound crew by the day. So Bert's like packing all this shit in. We've also hired a producer, Jennifer, who is amazing. And so we're trying to get her up and running and restructure our business. So we'll have all these business meetings, all these shoots, which I'm not physically on boots on the ground with the shoot, but it's in my freaking house. So I'm involved, like it or not, in some capacity. So I mean, like I went to cook eggs yesterday and the salt and the pepper were out here. And I was like, I have no salt and pepper. Come on, people. You can't strip me of all my rights. I need salt and pepper. So I was like, Jesus, I'm just eating egg with nothing. So I suffer. But as Jennifer has come on board and Jennifer has suggested we actually have an additional person who comes like maybe one full time, like 1 8-hour day a week and does like the PO box and, mail and that kind of stuff. And I was like, maybe I need to sit down and do what they're talking about with this visual day planner. Maybe I print my weeks out on because I'm never going to get away from my digital calendar. Right. I can't. I'm not going to carry around. You remember the checkbook size day planners we had in high school where you wrote teeny tiny, I have to go
But you couldn't read anyway.
You can't read it. Yeah, you could only buy it from that one thing that came around once a year and you filled out the form. And like 3 weeks later, you got this pocket checkbook size calendar that was the best. You got to pick out the scene on the outside. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, you guys were missing it.
No, I think I know what you're talking about.
It was like a little bigger than a checkbook.
I know what that, but
right?
like, we never filled out a form to like choose.
Oh, we had to special order them. Remember, I'm in rural Georgia. There's no bookstore. There's nowhere to go buy that.
Yeah, I think ours maybe came from like a stationery store, like Hallmark.
Oh, no, we didn't have anything anywhere near that. Yeah. This was a fundraiser that someone did, when they used to sell like wrapping paper and whatever. Whatever that fundraiser was also sold those little checkbook size calendars. And we were like, give me the catalog. I can't wait to pick out my calendar for the year. It was such a big deal. And we don't do that anymore. I mean, I think Lynn is the only person I know who actually has a day planner.
I do that. I always have a day
planner?
planner, but I have to say that since the beginning of 2020, since the pandemic started, I stopped using it because I wasn't going anywhere.
You just go nothing.
And then I got out of the habit of using it. I do something, my family thinks that I'm weird for doing this, but I am constantly taking scrap paper and writing out a calendar. Sometimes it'll be a 1 week like just exactly what you're talking about, a snapshot. Sometimes it'll be the entire month, or depending on what I'm like looking, whatever is coming up. It's like, if the play is coming up, then maybe I'll do like 3 weeks out, like, tech week. Okay. How are we going to eat during that week or whatever? And I do that constantly. I have duplicates of the same weeks of like, I just do that as an exercise so that I can visualize it. It's not enough to see it on the same. I need the act of writing it out to remind me too.
Yeah.
I think that's part of what the university's orientation was talking about too, was just the act of physically writing it in a day planner.
It sticks in your brain better.
It sticks in your brain. And they said they need to have like month at a glance and week at a glance. And it's double work and they're going to complain and they're not going to want to do it. But Every successful student does this.
That's so interesting. Lily every year picks out a day planner that's exactly that.
Really?
She has the month and then each week, and she uses it religiously.
Yeah.
Like that's how she functions.
Isla just started
So-
doing that, and it's so incredibly helpful for
Mhm.
Isla. And I encouraged her to do whatever she needed. I would like, let's put it in the computer and we'll print it out. But the act of writing it
Yeah.
is more helpful for her. So I wonder if you even have a fakey make-believe day planner where you put all your shit in your digital calendar, and on Sunday you sit down and write in your day planner, this is my
Yeah.
week.
Yep.
And so you know your week, and you go, here's where I need some backup. Here's what I need to shift. Maybe I'll try that. I'm curious to see how that would affect my anxiety.
Yeah.
I don't have anxiety like my family has anxiety. I have stress is really what we call it, I guess, where I go like, today's a perfect example. I always, there's a couple of deal breakers in my life. I never miss therapy, and I never miss working out with my trainer unless it's something I absolutely cannot figure out. So my trainer, I usually work out at 11 on Fridays. He was able to move it to 8, which means I got home at 9:30, and I have this at 10. And then at 11:15, I have to stop because I have to, thank you, do some ads for this, to be on the road at 11:30 to go to a mother-daughter luncheon that ends at 4. So my day started at 6 and just went all the way till 4, to the point where I'm like, how do I have time to take my dog out? Figured out a solution for that this morning while driving, like totally texting while driving, totally breaking the law, going, can you please come over and take my dog out at noon? Thank you so much. And then I have all these other things that I'm trying to manage while driving. And if I had maybe sat down with my day planner, I could have at least organized the dog. I could have at least organized the other things I was trying to text.
Well, even been aware of it, right? Like
Yeah.
sometimes you're not aware until you wake up that day and you're like, oh shit,
How
what
am I
about the
gonna do-
dog?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
Whereas if you had the week, you'd be like, oh, wait a minute, there's no space for dog walking at all in this moment. So, and then you have an entire week to figure it out since it's
Yeah.
on Friday. Yeah.
I think I'm going to buy a fancy day planner and see what that does for me. Because I wonder if that contributes to our burnout. The last minute inability to come, like what you're explaining, what you're describing is Saturday night. I go, oh
Yeah.
shit, what am I doing for tomorrow? You're up at 6 a.m. digging dirt out of your yard.
Right.
Like that's
Because
so
even though you
stressful.
have a plan and you know exactly that you're
Yeah.
doing this, like it's not in your brain enough to prepare earlier in the week. I did the same thing. I called you on Friday. I was like, what the fuck are we doing on Sunday?
Yeah.
Like, what do I need to do? Right.
Yeah, and I was
And then
moving
Sunday
her into
morning-
college, and I was like,
Sunday morning, right? I was like, I sat down to print out the bills that we needed. You're like, I just found them. I'm like, oh, thank God.
mhm.
Because it's 9 a.m. We start at 11,
Yeah.
right? Like I hadn't prepared anything.
Well, I got home that
So-
night before, and
Mhm.
so I was like, so wiped out. I was like, Girl Scouts is just going to have to wait till tomorrow
Yeah.
morning. And when I have it at our house, so I do have some prep before you guys get there. Like I put the table out and the sign up, which
Yeah.
is not that much, but it does take it takes some
everything
focus.
takes time. That's the
Yeah.
thing, is that it's always about, it's not that much. And I
Yeah.
tell myself
Right.
that too, about, well, it's not that much, but it is. It's time out of your day that you could have been taking Mona outside. That
Yes,
you could have been
true.
like 10 minutes, like the 10 minutes and the interruptions to life. So
Yeah.
it's not to
Right.
minimize putting that table out and all of this stuff. Like that's something like it.
It is.
Yeah.
Well,
It
it's
is
the
something.
cumulative
Yeah,
effect
it's the
again.
cumulative
yeah, right?
effect. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, I was like, this is what I thought. I bet Cathy didn't print that stuff out. I'm going to go print it out. And then I'm going to tell her I'm going to print it out because I'm already here. And then as I was printing it out, I was like, wait a minute. I think I saved one example of everything I used, so I can just make copies. So if that's true, I'll have the bills.
Mhm.
So I pulled out my bucket and I did. And I went, perfect. Cathy doesn't have to do anything. I got it. Just make copies and we're ready.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm with you. I didn't do it till that morning.
Yeah.
You know,
me
I didn't
too.
even think about it till you called me.
Yeah.
And I went, oh shit, that's
Yeah.
right. I get home that night.
Right.
The next day we have
That's
this
like
meeting.
the double-edged sword, right? We sit down in July, plan the entire year, and then sort of forget about it. Or
Yeah.
I forget
Oh,
yeah.
about
Oh,
it.
I forget. Oh, I
100%.
forget. I go,
Oh, yeah, that's
So
fine.
I was
you
like,
know how
oh,
many
we got
times
it. But
I've
then,
looked at the calendar and
Yeah.
gone, I have Girl Scouts this weekend. Oh my I've done that a million times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you're like, well, I've already planned it. So you sort of, I don't know, just forget about it. And then you're like, wait, shit, we actually have to do some stuff for this. While we may have a plan, we need soil, we need bills, we need whatever we might need. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
how do you
That's
feel
fine.
about this? I don't hear you talk about volunteering at your kid's school very
I
much.
took a massive step back when
Yeah.
my kids left elementary school.
Yeah.
And it was easy because we went to a completely new school. It was a completely new community. So nobody knew that I had volunteered a lot. I
Yes.
kept that very secret.
Yes.
And didn't take on any new responsibilities. I was like, I need a moment. So I did a couple of things, and then there's not a lot to do in high school. And I do volunteer for theater. You know, both my kids were in the theater program. I do stuff every year, every show actually. But the volunteering is a lot different. Very often it's providing a meal for Tech Week or whatever. And that's calling somebody to
Yeah, right.
drop off food and paying for it.
Yeah.
So it's different. And, that's not like I always go pick it up and I set it up and I serve the kids and whatever. But like, it's very easy. It's
Yeah.
very, very different than what I used to do. And I'm cool with that. I'm actually okay with that. So that is, I sort of bend my boundary. Like I guess, and no one really needs to know because there's not a lot else that you're being asked to do in high school,
Right.
really. I've stayed away from the big events and I'm like, I'm just going to focus on this.
Yeah. Right.
Which has been good. So really the biggest thing that stresses me out is the Girl Scout stuff. And it's partially my own fault because I do wait until the last minute. I forget about it.
Mhm.
And then all the other shit that just makes me so annoyed. And it's like it's never going to not be annoying.
Yeah.
The financial piece is never not going to be annoying when you have to do it.
No.
Like it's just, that's what it is. For the next 4 years, I'm going to be annoyed every time I have to do it.
Yeah.
They're
It's
never
not going to make me not, it's never
they're
going to
never
be
going to
easy.
learn to put something like
Nope.
they're never going to learn to not hold a meeting when it could have been an email or not write an email if it could have been a text. Like turn it into a pamphlet, people. Let's be
Yes.
done.
Yes.
And they're never going to, they're never going to get their shit straight. They're just not. It's
No.
been 10 years and it's still a clusterfuck, right? So I
Yep.
have no vision that it's going to get better in the next 4 years. So I just need to suck it up
Yeah.
because the rest of it is worth it. So if I just keep that perspective,
Mhm.
this sucks. It's always going to suck. Moving on.
Well, yeah, you definitely,
You know.
it's the devil, for sure.
Yeah.
Because we know exactly what this devil is. And it is the devil. It is of Satan. No, the organization is, I love what we do with the
Yeah.
organization, but it is very poorly run, in my opinion. At the volunteer level, I don't know anything about their money or any of the corporate
Yeah.
shit, but as a volunteer, how they run us is inconsistent, and that's what bothers me. I think the most is the inconsistency, and to see another troop leader, because we have monthly meetings, who doesn't comply and still moves forward is confusing also. Where you go, we had one camping trip when we were younger. This person's no longer a leader, but we had this one camping trip and we were all out camping and these two leaders had their troop. They're in our neighborhood. And she goes, "Hey guys, you want to stop by our camp? We have wine." And I was like, you can't drink at a Girl Scout troop meeting. I know another Girl Scout troop where they sleep in the tents with the girls. That's explicitly explained. There's crystal clear that you cannot sleep in the same tent, and that's how they do it. And I'm like, all these freaking rule breakers, and nobody's regulating them. But I somehow feel like I'm in trouble if I don't do my mandated reporter and I don't show up at the monthly meeting. Why? Maybe that's a flaw in me that I can't break a rule and just go, fuck it. But I can't do that.
I don't think that's a flaw. I think that the three of us are rule followers,
Yeah.
for better or worse.
That
That's
is
just
true.
who we are. And
isn't that the example that you should set for your girls? If the Girl Scouts say we have to do it this way, we can say, hey, we don't agree, but this is what they say, so we have to. You know, like we went to Wedowee and they wanted to ride wave runners. And we were like, it's not our choice. That is not allowed in Girl Scouts. So we're not allowing it. But I wonder if some of these other loosey-goosey parents would go, just do it anyway. And then someone freaking runs into a boat, loses an arm, and now you have no insurance. I can't do that. I don't, my brain doesn't work like that. But it is frustrating sometimes to sit in those meetings and look around and go, you drank at the camping trip. You know, you sleep with your kid in a tent. You don't fill out your paperwork. That was one time this woman said, what's this paper you're talking about? And I literally was like, are you kidding? You're a troop leader and you don't know about this over-the-counter medication? Come on, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
This is like Girl Scouts 101. How have you been a leader for like 4 or 5 years now and you don't know about this thing? You're lucky no one got hurt. Because literally,
and then what are you just doling out Tylenol on the side? Like,
Yeah,
is
right?
that okay? Like, what the hell?
she's a pusher man.
Like, I don't know. That freaks me out. Like, it's,
I know
That's a
she's
big
like
deal.
slathering aloe over all those kids.
While in the tent with her own daughter, slathering and drinking on the side. It's rule breakers. That's crazy. Slathering aloe. No, but really, to your point,
yeah.
so many kids have so many allergies.
You don't know. That shit is scary, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like we went where we were at lunch with Georgia's college roommate, and we were eating pizza, and we were talking about like food allergies. Do you have any food allergies? I asked that because I'm planning on sending care packages, and if someone is allergic to nuts, then I'm not going to include that in Georgia's package, right? And she said the only thing I'm allergic to is Tylenol. I took it one time and I almost died, and I
Wow.
went,
That's scary.
wow, that's terrible. She said, yeah, it was pretty bad. It was really scary. I'd never heard anyone being allergic to
Yeah.
Tylenol. But yeah, she said she was hospitalized. She took one Tylenol and had an immediate, like almost immediate allergic reaction. So if you don't fill out that stupid form that
Yeah.
says, what are you allergic to? It's life or death for some kids. And of
Yeah.
course you would think the parent should say to you, hey, just so you know, don't ever give her Tylenol. But they don't. They don't think about it. And this onus is on us to find out with
Yeah.
that stupid form that other person in Girl Scouts doesn't do. And I just kept going, what? How do you people sleep at night not filling out all your forms? Come on.
Shame.
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 You form skipper, you aloe slatherer.
How dare they?
I don't know. Volunteerism is a difficult,
Mhm.
not difficult, a complex thing, I think, because it's so fulfilling. I've met all of you, all of my close friends from volunteering, because you have a similar value system at the end of the day with the people who are volunteering for the same or similar causes than you are. So volunteering is a wonderful way of enriching your life in multiple ways. It's so amazing to watch these Girl Scouts go from kindergarten to 12th grade and watch them progress and grow and learn things they would never learn if it weren't for us. Really. Like they didn't teach a lot of these camping skills in the classroom or anywhere. And a lot of these parents don't go camping. Not that that's the biggest deal in the world, but it's
No,
really
but-
cool that they all know how to use a pocket knife to some capacity. And they all know how to light a lantern. And they all know how to use a hatchet a little bit. And they all
pitch a tent. How to
Yeah.
be away
Yeah.
from your parents.
Poop in the
at
woods.
this point, it's a little bit different because they're older. How to poop in the woods?
Yeah, one person knows how to poop in the woods.
Maybe
And
two.
luckily, it's not one of us.
No. I already knew how to poop in the woods, but what
Yeah.
were you saying?
I don't remember.
Ah,
Sorry. No.
I think that the tough thing about volunteer burnout is that you're right. Like it is very fulfilling. So then the feeling of burnout makes me feel like a bad person.
right.
Mhm.
Like it makes me feel like, oh, well, isn't it enough to do good things? Like,
Yeah.
isn't that enough? Like, why isn't it enough right now? And I that really bothers me. It makes me feel like a
Right.
bad person.
Well, I think the nature of the
Wow.
person who volunteers is someone who has that ethic that you should give to your community. I grew up with grandparents and my dad who would do anything for anybody. So they didn't necessarily volunteer for an organization. That stuff kind of didn't really exist in my hometown. But, you know, I remember a tornado hitting our school and on the news that night, seeing my grandfather pulling fire hose because that's what you do. You just show up and do. And he hosted fundraiser after fundraiser after fundraiser to build buildings onto churches, to add stuff to schools, because he had a farm and he had a big barbecue pit. So he would just barbecue and then we'd have these big fundraisers. And that's a value system that you are taught. And to not help when someone needs help is foreign, right? It's a very foreign feeling. It felt really bad to say, I will do one thing.
Yeah.
And only one thing. And when they came around in, I was like, I am the biggest bitch ever to say no. What an asshole. But I was like, I just don't want to. And I would just do it with resentment. And resentment is so bitter and yucky that I wouldn't do a good job. The one is enough. It is hard. I know exactly what you're feeling. You do feel guilty when you say no.
So you just got to pretend.
Yeah.
Like, just don't let anyone know. But it's interesting, you know, you're talking about earlier your mom, and I was thinking my mom was the same way growing up. She actually was a huge volunteer. She doesn't now, but within the last 10 years of her life, she was still volunteering for various things, which I think is really interesting that all of us did grow up with that being the norm, the role model, whatever. I hope our kids get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they have it a little bit, although it's tricky now because they're forced to because they have to do it for school hours or whatever. But I hope that that is a value that they continue to have later on in life.
I think it will, at least the three of our kids, because the three of our kids see that this is a volunteer position that we are doing of our own volition. We're not required.
Yeah, and my kids
they
had
see it
required
outside of Girl Scouts too, like all of the other things that we volunteer
Oh, absolutely.
for.
Yes.
My kids both had required service hours for middle school, but not at their high school, and yet they still are like, "Oh, when's the next Heal the Bay? Let's sign up for that." And they want to do that stuff. So yeah, I'm not worried about our kids. I'm worried about how long I'll last.
Will she make it 4 more years? I mean, by the time these older kids are gone, the juniors have graduated out, they're going to be more leaders than our troop members. We keep saying we're going to take a day off or a weekend off, but we only take it off when we have something else to do.
Yeah.
We don't ever just take it off. So maybe that's something we should start doing too. I'm happy to step in and do whatever agenda you give me. I don't need to write the agenda, or I can. But maybe that's what we start doing too.
I think the hard part with that though is like that's the reward, right?
Well, yeah, I guess.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
like
exactly.
that, the Sunday part is the reward for all the other shit we have to do.
Yeah, it was really
Right? So
fun
take
doing
me-
soil erosion.
Yeah, exactly.
Experiment.
Right?
It was not
So-
fun digging in the yard.
Call Leanne at 6 a.m. next Sunday
Yes.
to come dig in your yard.
Right?
That's what needs. That's
And I'm
what
going to need you to go over in your backyard, dig up.
Leanne had bags of soil in her backyard, so I would have gone, well, I just have soil and I have
it
gravel.
wasn't just about
and I
the
have rock.
soil. Also, it was like I read in the thing Saturday night that it was like, oh, we're supposed to be we're supposed to grow our own grass first, and then because one of the things was soil only. One was like soil with like dead leaves, and then one of them was like
Grass.
with grass.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. So like instead of grass, we did clover. There was a patch of clover in our backyard. So I literally had to dig deep and like get the soil
roots.
and the roots and the clover, the whole
Boy,
thing.
you worked
and put
way
it in
too
there.
hard for this, Kirsten. I went to the nursery and bought like catnip grass.
I thought about doing that. I just didn't have another stop in me.
Yeah,
Do
you
you
didn't
ever
have
get like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Where it's like the littlest thing. Our poor cat went without, like she takes a supplement and she went without it for a while because I just could not make one more stop.
Yeah.
One more stop was just beyond.
Yeah, I had that yesterday. I was right by the vet to pick up Mona's meds, and I was like, I can't do it. I cannot do it. I'm just going home. She's got enough to get her through tomorrow. I was literally in front of the vet. All I had to do is pull over, get out, and get it.
Like now you got to go back.
Yeah.
Right, which is even worse.
No, I'm sending
But
somewhere
in
else.
that
In the
moment,
moment.
Yeah.
you're like, I just can't do
Can't
it.
do it.
Even though I know I'm making my life harder, I
Yeah.
still can't pull the trigger and make it happen.
Well, I'm going to buy a day planner, and I'm going to sit down maybe on Sundays and write out my whole week and see if that improves my stress during the week. I started going to acupuncture because I'm having perimenopausal, like massive night sweats. By the way, it has helped me tremendously with the night sweats and stuff. I haven't had a single headache since I've been to see her. So that's been really great. But I don't know why I brought this up. There was a reason for the acupuncture in particular. What were we talking about before? Sitting down Sunday.
Writing out
my acupuncturist, I went to see her this week, and she said, she doesn't know anything about me. She knows about my health. Like I've told her about, all the things I'm concerned with my health. She doesn't know about my life. But she said, you work a lot. I said, yeah, I do work a lot. She said, your body is 5 times more tired than it should be. Your whole body is like, you need to reduce what you're doing by like 5. And I went, that's funny. I could reduce it by 1/5, but I can't reduce it by 5. I can't do that. And she was like, well, you need to find some way to give your body some rest. And I wonder if some of that is like this morning I got up, and because I had to get up, feed the dogs, walk Mac because he's still in confinement from his surgery, feed myself, make coffee for myself, get dressed for working out, and take Isla to the bus, all in like a little under an hour or right around an hour. I started the hamster wheel when my feet hit the floor. And at a certain point I went, you need to slow down. Functioning at this speed in your brain and in your energy doesn't make things more efficient or make it happen faster. It doesn't slow down time. You're just revving up your stress. So stop and just be here. You have enough time to get this done. Just get it done and go work out and be there and then go here. And then of course I lost track of time while we were working out and we ended 10 minutes late. And I was like, I said when we started, I've got to leave on time. And the clock is behind me. So he should have been watching the clock. And I panicked. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be late. But I found a whole new way to come home. I got home at the same amount of time, same time of day I would have before. But I was like a freight train in the house to shower and like change and makeup, and very little makeup, but a semblance of makeup, and get in here. And then I went, I need to stop again. I need to stop and be here because I'm not going to slow time down by internally being panicked.
Right.
So I wonder if that calendar thing would help me with have less internal panic, internal racing. I feel like my RPMs are real high. Like that psychic that came and said, you're like the swan where everything above the water is really calm and below you're like, so fast. I don't know. I'm going to try it. Have not started our book club book.
Neither have I.
Have you? Of course you have. Of course you have.
You started it before though, right?
Started. Yeah, I've started.
I haven't even.
But yeah, I'm not in a rush. I'm like you. I feel like this is a slowing down time. I feel like I have not taken the messages from the pandemic, from like the lockdown, from having a heart attack. I feel like I need to be more boundaried about that and going, you know what? All of these things are leaning in towards rest. Yeah.
Yeah. Rest. What do you think, Kath?
It's a good plan. How do you make that happen? Yeah.
The calendar.
See, sometimes the calendar stresses me out.
Oh yeah.
Because I then get in the hamster wheel of like, okay, I have to take out the dog. I have to eat breakfast. I have to do this. So I write down all of the shit that you're like, that's not really what's happening here. But like, I can't function until like I get it all out. But that's more stressful because then your to-do list has 400 things on it. And you're like, this is fucking stupid. I don't need to write down that I need to eat. Right?
No,
like
no.
I don't
need to write. No.
But That's how I get when I start writing things down.
That's
Do you know
like
what I mean?
Frog and Toad. Do you guys read the Frog and Toad books to your kids? They're the
million
most
years ago.
beautiful, brilliant books by Arnold Lobel. I highly recommend them for adults to slow down. In fact, I am going to make this promise. I'm going to go home and I'm going to read a Frog and Toad book to myself when I get home to try to slow myself down. But Frog and Toad are these best friends, and Frog is the even-tempered one, and Toad is crotchety, and he's always over something, and there's always something that's driving him crazy. And Toad makes a list, and he includes wake up on the list just so he can cross something off. No, I'm saying I'm Toad. Like, I'm totally Toad. I practically put I don't put wake up, but I put shower. I have never gone a day in my life without a shower, except for when we're camping. Like, literally.
There's no reason to write that shit down, but yet I can't stop myself. And I'm like, what? This is not helpful.
Okay, you people are broken. I don't write that down. Really? You write down shower?
I do. Well, sometimes it's to remind me of the time of day that I want to shower. So, for example, if like driving the kids to school, but I'm podcasting, it's like, I want to be showered before I come here. I don't want to show up here like a rat. So, but a lot of the time I would drive my kids to school and do those errands before I shower, and then I'd come home. So sometimes it's really more about, remember to have a shower first thing in the morning because you're podcasting later.
Because you have a busy day. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I see. That makes a little more sense. I don't know that I need to write that down in my week at a glance, but
it doesn't go in the week at a glance.
Yeah, no, just in your daily.
Just the daily. Yeah.
Daily. Do you both are list makers? Are you list makers?
Oh yeah,
100%.
Me too.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody functions without a list.
I just consolidated my list this morning because I was like, I have like random list on like 5 different pieces of scrap paper. And I'm like, oh my God, why? I have a notebook.
I have a notebook too.
But like somehow the notebook inevitably is not where I am at that moment.
Yeah.
So like I start a new list and then I have them all over the place.
Yeah, but like rewriting the lists, I don't know. It's just part of my process where I feel like I'm rewriting it because it helps sort of prioritize sometimes, because I don't know about you guys. I'm assuming that your lists are never ending. They're just not even realistic of getting done in a day.
Yeah.
No, like
yes. You're correct.
Yes. So it's like, I know that in my bones that this is unrealistic. This is probably the amount that I should be looking to accomplish in a month, not in a day. And yet I just can't stop myself from doing that. So with that in mind, throughout the day, I'm rewriting lists to sort of prioritize, to hone in on, okay, what actually needs to happen today?
Now, do you think list writing is a form of managing anxiety?
It's a form of managing life. I don't know about anxiety, but
because writing list over and over again is interesting to me. I wonder if that helps you not only keep track of it, but calm you down a little bit, to feel like you have you're in control of it. I wonder.
I think you're right, because my list has things that clearly I'm not accomplishing today, right? This thing, okay. Lily's vest, right? Her fucking Girl Scout vest that does not have the patches sewn on it, right? That has been on the list for probably 6 months. It's going to be on there for another 6 months. Let's be honest. Until she needs to like wear it somewhere presentable. I'm not sewing those fucking badges on because they're a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Why the hell we can't iron them on? I don't know. Yeah. But that has been on the list, right? So of course, when I rewrite the list, that doesn't go on my Monday to-do list because we all know it's not happening.
Oh, you have daily to-do lists?
Oh,
I sort of revise. That's the like stuff that gets redone is like, what is really happening today?
So you just have one master list that keeps getting crossed off, and then do you just keep adding to it? Or is it like a weekly list, or how does this work?
No. I just have one. I have a notebook that I sit down and write down the shit that I need to do. And I don't prioritize it. I need it. It's more like a dump list. Like, this is all the stuff I have to do. It's not the minutia. I need to go to the grocery store. I need to, it's not that. It's like, I need to make an appointment with a neurologist for Isla's migraines.
I need to do first aid training.
Yes. It's like that. The stuff that
I have that too.
Schedule the groomer, schedule your dental hygienist appointment. It's like that. So, if I have a daily thing that needs to be done today, I'll put it on the list and I just know it's for today. But if I don't have that master list,
Well, that's why you don't have showering on your list.
Yeah, I don't do that bullshit.
Yes, it doesn't
man.
go
Well,
on
okay,
the
but
master
when do you
list.
revise this master list? When do you revise this master
When
list?
I've crossed so much off that it's relatively done. And then I'll move over to another page and move the things that I didn't get done and then continue to add.
Interesting.
And then I cross it off and then move and continue to add.
I don't function that way.
Yeah. Because I don't need to know that I need to go to the grocery store. I know that I need to go to the grocery
Yeah,
store.
that doesn't go on my list either.
I don't need to figure out dinner, like that kind of stuff. It's a to-do list. Like I have to take an action somehow with another person usually.
Yeah, mine
like
is that
scheduled
too. But then
groomer.
all of a sudden, like, you know, making the neurologist appointment didn't happen today for whatever reason. So like it's got to go on the list for tomorrow.
That's
you know what I
yeah.
mean? So
But I don't have it for every day. I just keep the list running until the list is probably 3/4 done and then is more marked out than not. Then I'll just move the stuff I didn't finish over and start a clean list. And then after a while, I'll go, this has been on my list forever. I'm doing this first. I'm going to handle this one. Let me get this one that I keep putting off for whatever reason. And then that's how I do it. I don't assign a day. Maybe it would be helpful if I assigned a day. You know, what I did years ago, I keep trying to get back to, and I can't. And I wonder if it's because of the way we work digitally now that we weren't as digital then. But I used to have a day for a duty, like Monday was my like set my week up for success day. So I would look through a bunch of stuff and figure out what I needed to book or schedule and go through that master list and, you know, plan or knock a bunch of that shit off. And then like Tuesday was an errand day where I just spent the day running around. Wednesday was a volunteer day. So I'd work on stuff for Girl Scouts and stuff for elementary school when we were there and any volunteerism. Thursday was always like my bookkeeping day when I was handling all of our books. That was the day I just dealt with finances. And then Friday was like a free day where I could fill in whatever I missed throughout the week.
You know, you told us about this in one of our very earliest podcasts.
I used to do that.
Yeah.
And it functioned really
That's
well
a great
for
idea.
me. But the way that life seems to be happening now, everything's so immediate that it's hard to say, I'll get back to you on Wednesday. I've forgotten it by then because everything is so immediate. So I wonder if my day planner, I sit down and schedule what I need to do because my weeks, what happened actually is this podcast. And the podcast, my guests delegate my week. So I can't say no to someone who can do Wednesday when Wednesday was my day to work on volunteerism. So my scheduling, my rigid scheduling couldn't work once I started the podcast because the podcast had to be very open and kind of free flowing.
Yeah, you don't have like Tuesdays booked off for podcasting.
Yeah,
It's
if I
just
did
when
that,
it
then I
happens.
could never do my podcast because it's hard enough now just getting my workout in and trying to keep that sacred. I can't also take a whole day sacred and not do. So now that we're talking about it, I've figured out that's why I didn't do that. So I wonder if I do the week at a glance. I know usually when my podcast is happening on Sunday that week, I can say, okay, well then this week, Thursday is my day to, you know, work on volunteerism. Next week, it may have to be Wednesday because of my podcast schedule. Maybe that's what I should start doing. Because
I'm going to try the master list technique.
Are you?
I'll try it this week.
I think if I did a daily list, I would get really overwhelmed.
It is overwhelming.
I think it would make me feel like I can never do this in a day. So at a master list, I go, I just need to get this done in a timely manner. And so if
I
it
like
gets
the sense of accomplishment though, of like,
every
I do
day.
it. I do my list on my notes app. And so I cut and paste. So when I'm done with
easy.
something, I move it to the bottom of done. So I have a done section. So sometimes I can reassure myself and just some days when I feel like I got nothing accomplished today.
Yeah.
Whatever. Those days when you make all those phone calls for the doctor's appointments or whatever, and you're like, I made all the phone calls and I still don't have the appointments. What's happening?
Yeah.
Then I can at least go, oh, wow.
I did a
You
lot.
did- yeah. I think
that's
it's
why I
like
like writing it
Me
because I can
too.
see the crossing it out.
Me
and seeing
too.
That,
Though.
like YouTube. Okay.
Digital
I
notes
don't do
don't do it for me either.
No.
Like I've tried to keep it. It's good for like, oh my God, I'm at the drugstore. I don't have a
Yes.
notebook.
Yes.
I'm going to stick it in
Yes.
here, but I'll
And
always
then
put it. That's
transfer
what I
it.
do.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
That
I
works.
like to write it and cross it off.
Me too.
And
Me
write it
too.
and cross it off. And I like my cute notebook. Maybe I'll start.
And I like writing it because it does help me remember it.
Me too.
Like if I put in my phone, fuck, if I don't open that. Like,
everything's in that phone.
Yeah. And I can't find anything.
No, I can't find anything in the damn phone.
Yes.
It's the worst. It's like the black hole.
Yeah, a little bit.
It just goes, and I go, I know I read that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's search by Cathy. Okay, let's search by Franken. Okay, let's search by Girl Scouts. Okay, let's search by date. No, it's in the void.
Yeah.
I hate it.
And I somehow have 2 notes applications. So like I have Notes and Evernote, and I can never remember which one I use.
You need to delete one of them.
No, I should delete one of them. But they're like on the phone. Like, I don't know. It takes too much effort. So like I got to figure out like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I should wrap
anyway.
it up because I have to go to mother-daughter luncheon. This is the luncheon where there's a boutique. And I love me a good boutique. I love me a good silent auction. There's no silent auction. This one's just boutiques. But yeah, so thank you for talking about
Very
this.
exciting.
Thank you, because I am going to today, maybe tomorrow, go find a day planner. I bet they have day planners that have like notes in it so I could make my list in the
Staples.
back then. Staples?
That's where Lily gets hers every year.
Are they
When we get-
cute though? I don't want like a black.
They have really cute
Added
ones.
lamps.
She's very
There's
particular.
super cute ones at Target, but even at
Target
Home
has
Goods,
cute ones.
Home
Yeah.
Goods has really cute ones too.
Yeah, I don't want a black at a glance.
Oh yeah,
Remember
no.
those
Yes.
with the embossed? Well, thank you. Do you feel better? Did you get some stuff off your chest about volunteering or no?
I realize that I need to prioritize and figure things out. Pending.
Yeah, I need to too. I think this organization, I don't know why. It is the podcast. That is what made me stop functioning that way. And when I functioned that way, I remember not feeling as overwhelmed as I feel now. So maybe I just need to plan it differently, not be so rigid. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like life has thrown a lot more at us lately too, which is always tricky.
Maybe so.
You know.
Well, it's always been nice
Anyway.
volunteering with you ladies. We've volunteered at school. We volunteered at Girl Scouts. It's awesome. I really do. I really am grateful for volunteering because I've met all my closest friends volunteering. So
And it's
Yeah,
fun.
same.
It's rewarding.
fun.
Like there's a reason we keep coming back to it, despite all the shit that comes along with it. There's a reason that you continue to do it,
you're right.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's the bigger picture.
It's the cookies.
It's the cookies. Fucking cookies.
It's the Girl Scout cookies for sure. All right. Well, thank you, ladies.
Enjoy your luncheon.
day. Oh, it'll be fun. I can't wait. I got Isla a mozzarella and tomato basil sandwich, and she's like, I can't wait to get to that sandwich. She's so funny. It's like, no, the simple things for that girl. No, okay, fine. So, yeah, it'll be fun. All right. Until next time.
All right.